What's up, everybody? It's Matt Shaquan, aka Recluse, here to show you the VERSELAB MV-1. VERSELAB is a portable song production studio with all the sounds, effects, and tools you need to quickly finish pro-quality songs with vocals from beginning to end. It's great for the new producer looking to get into production, vocalists who want to collaborate with producers, and professionals looking for a mobile music sketchpad. So inside the box, you'll find the MV-1, an AC adapter, a README first leaflet, the SD card stored inside the unit, also the SD card protector, and finally, a registration card with a QR code linked to the Roland website. Use this card to register your product at roland.com for email updates on new firmware versions and an invite to our online learning platform, the Roland Cloud Academy. To power VERSELAB, you can use the AC adapter included in the box or USB bus power. This means you can power directly from a laptop, a wall outlet with a power block, or a mobile battery. With the right battery, you can get up to 10 hours of power for using your VERSELAB on the go. Remember, if you're using the USB bus power, you won't be able to use phantom power with a condenser mic. The first thing you want to do before jumping into song making is make sure you have the latest firmware from Roland for all the bug fixes and additional features. To check the firmware version currently installed in your unit, hold both the measure buttons here and press the Project Low button. To update your unit's firmware, download the firmware update from the Roland product page, which is labeled System Program, and copy the bin file downloaded to the SD card. Insert the SD card back into your unit, hold Shift while powering on to start the update automatically. After the update is done, perform a factory reset by pressing Shift in System, then turning the value knob to Factory Reset, pressing the value knob to enter. The audio driver lets you connect VERSELAB with audio software on your Mac or PC. You can play VERSELAB in sync with your computer using MIDI and send audio from tracks back and forth all over a single USB cable. On VERSELAB product page, under the Downloads tab, you'll find a list of drivers with specific instructions for each operating system. So let's check out the VERSELAB from front to back. On the front, we have an 1/8 inch and a 1/4 inch headphone output and a built-in microphone. On the back, we have 1/4 inch line outputs. We have our XLR input for our microphone. We have 1/4 inch line inputs. We also have MIDI in and out port, an SD card slot, USB port, AC adapter, as well as a Kensington anti-theft slot. The most important part of the top panel is the workflow strip right here. By following these buttons from left to right, sequence, section, song, mixer, and mix down, you have all the steps you need to create a full song. We'll get into the workflow detail a little bit more soon. So in the left section, we have the main and headphone volume. We have the shift button to access the sub-functions listed underneath various buttons. This will also increase value ranges while scrolling and lets you move through different categories and menus. We also have an edit button, and if I press this, you'll notice that a lot of these buttons will start blinking. This gives you access to a bunch of sub-menus. You also have the clear and copy button for deleting and copying elements. We have the pad mode buttons, note, style, and section select to set pad behavior and sequencing functions. Of course, we have our record button here, and we have the measure buttons to navigate through section clips. Also underneath there, you see the measure indicator lights and the play stop button at the bottom. All right, in the center, we have our project button here to load and save projects. We have the controls for both the vocal processor and our microphone. We have a multicolored velocity-sensitive drum pads in the middle for playing live. We also have a 16-step sequencer for programming and a built-in microphone to capture your scratch vocals. On the right, we have an LCD screen, a value knob which you can turn and push to switch fields. We have our 3 parameter control knobs, 1, 2, 3. We have our exit button to get in and out of menus. We have our system and utility button here. We also have our 8 tracks, drum tracks and melodic tracks. We have a motion button for recording automation, and we have an input settings button right here. Tracks are how we organize sounds and where performances are created. VERSELAB has drums on the top row, kick, snare, hi-hat, and a full drum kit. The individual drum track sounds can be used to play a bass line with an 808 sub, tuned across the pads, You can also play pitched snare rolls. The full kit track is used to play multiple drum sounds at the same time. On the bottom row, we have our melodic tracks, bass, and 2 instrument tracks, as well as a dedicated vocal track. Even though the tracks are labeled in this way, most of them can be customized for whatever sound and vibe you want. Let's look at different track types. Drum kits are collections of 16 drum sounds that can be made up of internal preset sounds or your own imported samples. Tone tracks contain a single sound played across the pads. This includes the kick, snare, hi-hat tracks, and the melodic tracks, bass, instrument 1 and 2. Additionally, instrument 1 and 2 can be used as a looper track. This is a track for looped audio recordings, which can time stretch to your song tempo. This means you have the ability to change the playback speed without changing the audio's pitch. There's up to 60 total seconds available for these looper tracks. And then finally, we have vocal tracks. These are audio tracks for all your vocals, organized in up to 16 takes that overlay your song arrangement. Even though this track is labeled vocal, you can record other instruments or audio using the line input. VERSELAB features over 3,000 sounds powered by Roland ZEN-Core synth engine, covering a wide range of modern electronic and acoustic sounds. It's easy to browse by category and find the perfect sound for your song. Select a track, press the value knob to launch the browser, enter the preset menu, and you'll find built-in sounds arranged by alphabet, number, and sound category. If you wanted a synth bass, for instance, press the value knob and scroll through the many different synth-based sounds we have right here. You can also load additional content from your SD card, which includes more samples and loops designed to help you start your song. You also have access to Roland sound packs downloaded from Roland Cloud via your SD card, which we'll talk about a little later in the video. While in sequence mode, select a track and then press the value knob, or hold edit and press your track to browse and import sounds. After browsing, make sure to push the value knob to load the sound on the track. To add individual sounds to pads in a drum kit, press Shift and the pad to browse individual sounds, and press the value knob to load the sound to the track. Modifying and changing your sounds is just as easy. Press Shift and your track to access general track settings, or in a kit, hold Edit and the drum pad to edit individual sounds in the drum kit. On a tone track, you can press Edit and the value knob to access additional tone settings. In here, you're going to find level, panning, delay and reverb send, your tuning, as well as your filter and your ADSR envelope. Also in the tone edit menu, you can get your multi-effects, also known as Mfx. As we said before, the workflow strip will keep you focused on the song-making process, giving you a step-by-step guide from left to right. Let's check out each of these steps in a little more detail, starting with sequence mode. Sequence mode is used to create the building blocks of song sections known as clips. Each clip contains the notes played in the track, along with the track settings and sounds used. So in this case, we're on our kick track. You can see the programming on the step sequencer. I'm going to play it. You can hear the clip. And let's bring some other clips and add it on top, and you can hear how they come together to make a section. Next, we'll move to section on the workflow strip. This is where we prepare the different song parts, things like intro, verse, chorus, bridge, outro. In the section mode, we can edit the length of each section, represented by bars on the step sequencer. So in this case, this section is now 8 bars. I can have it, make it 4, can make it 6, can make it 12, 16, etc. We can also edit the color by pressing edit and the section right here. Next up, song mode. Song mode is designed to make arranging super easy, letting you test out different song structures to get the perfect flow. In song mode, sections are arranged in an order from left to right on your step sequencer, and vocal takes are recorded on top of this arrangement. We'll then use mixer mode to adjust levels, panning, EQ, and effect sends of each track. And finally, mixdown will bounce the completed song with vocals as a WAV file onto your SD card. Let's start to sequence some ideas. First, we need to understand that our songs are managed within projects, which are stored on the SD card. With the project button, you can load, save, or start a new project. You'll also find genre templates and demo projects on your SD card. To get the latest projects, download the preset contents from the Downloads tab on the product page, where you also found the firmware and drivers. The demo projects are fully arranged songs, some with vocals, and are great as a starting point for your own song, or also to learn about the VERSELAB's functions. Genre templates can also be used to load a quick set of starting sounds, or is great for a vocalist or musician that might want a stand-in backing track. Genre templates include basic sequences with curated sounds and effects, and are marked with the genre in parentheses. Before starting to record your ideas, you'll first want to set up some basic recording options. Hold Shift plus Sequence. This is where you can access your beats per minute, your count in, your metronome on or off, as well as your metronome level and a variety of different metronome types. Shift plus Section Select gets you to the Quantize settings. Quantization is a way of auto-correcting your playing and can be set to occur during the recording process or after you've already recorded something. Additionally, you can set clip quantization by holding Shift and pressing the clip, and you'll see quantize percentage right here, which you can turn up like so. It's also possible to record with no quantize or grid, which is great for capturing live sounding performances. With the System button, you'll find settings to adjust the curve and sensitivity of the drum pads. For instance, if you want the pads to play at full volume, no matter how hard you hit them, press System, then push the value knob on pad curve and scroll to change the curve to fix 1 to 27. If you want the pads to be more responsive, you'll want to turn down the pad trigger sensitivity amount here. My sweet spot is around 15, but experiment to see what works best for you. The Section Select button chooses which section and clip you're currently sequencing. This helps when recording or previewing different sections of the same track. As an example, you can access all the different bass parts without actually leaving the bass track. Edit plus Note sets the musical key and scale played on the drum pads. This is great for playing in a particular key without playing any wrong notes. Let's give it a try. Let's check out some of the tools and techniques that go into making your song. As we said before, sequencer mode is used to create the clips that will make up each section. These clips contain the notes played in a track, along with the track settings and sounds used. Drum and melodic tracks can be sequenced by playing the pads in real time or step by step on the step sequencer. Real-time playing on the 4x4 pads is great for getting in the moment and creating a live feel. Just press record, then start, stop, and play on the pads. Step sequencing is great for quickly laying down notes. Press the drum pad you want to sequence and enter the notes on the step sequencer button. So we'll start with the kick in this case, and we'll put it on 1, 5, 9, and 13. This is the beat. We'll come over to our snare, add on the 5 and the 13. Add some hats. And then add some other random sounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120 With the pad modes, you can change the playback behavior of your drum pads. Press Note to play by musical scale. Press Style while using a drum track to play a sound with different rhythmic intervals. Bottom rows are going to play straight rhythms, and the top rows are going to play patterns. Let's check it out. Press Style while using a melodic track to play an arpeggio, holding a single or multiple pads to play a note pattern. Hold Style while turning the value knob to change the arpeggio's rhythm, or press Edit and Style to change the style or the variation, direction, and other parameters. For more information on arpeggio settings, refer to the parameter guide. Press Shift plus Note for velocity mode to play a sound with velocity spread across the pads. Press Shift plus Style to play a chord with a single pad. The bottom row by default are minor chords, and the top row plays major chords. While in chord mode, press Edit plus a drum pad to edit that chord. You can modify the notes in the chord and change the pad color. Once you've recorded some clips, you may then want to record real-time changes to your sequencing using motion recording. These can be many different things like tuning, filter cutoff, level, panning, and effect sends, which are all assigned to the control knobs located here. Hold Edit while turning a control knob to scroll through different parameters, and then you can then assign that to the knob. Press Motion button to activate motion, then Record and Play to start recording. In this demo, I'm going to add some filter cutoff and some tuning to my hi-hat pattern. To edit motion by individual step, press Edit plus the Step Sequencer button, and then press Motion. To clear motion by knob or all the recorded motion, press Edit plus the Motion button. There's also a Motion Designer, which adds an LFO to the motion parameters. Hold Edit plus Motion to access and press the value knob to get into the parameters. Refer to the owner's manual for more details. Once we've laid down some ideas, we may want to go back and edit parts of it. If you want to edit single notes, hold Edit and press a step on the step sequencer, and you will access note parameters on your LCD. You'll see note, length, velocity, start point if you want to move your note back and forth, and substep for creating rolls, fills, and ratchets. You can also edit individual motion recording data by holding the step and turning the parameter knob here. By default, all the clips are 1 bar, but you might want to extend them to have some more variation happening. Press Copy plus Measure Right to duplicate your clip. They can be up to 128 steps long, or in other words, 8 measures. Using the measure buttons, you can also choose which measure is being displayed in the step sequencer with the LEDs indicating where you are. This makes it easy to turn a simple, short sequence into a longer one with evolving variation. Pressing Copy while in Section Select allows you to copy the phrase and sound between clips and sections. You can also load, save, and import clips from other projects by pressing Edit while in Section Select mode and pressing your clip on the pad. That way you can use previously made clips as a starting point for new sequences. Additionally, in the Clip Edit menu, you can access clip settings to make some wild changes to the clip's behavior. This is a great way to add more variation in your sequences. You can adjust your clip's shuffle and quantize to make the performance feel tighter, and you can also change the play modes so the notes will be played in a different order. Let's check it out. Samples can be loaded directly from the SD card by selecting a track, pressing the value knob, and scrolling to WAV file. In addition to WAV import, you can also sample from the built-in mic, line, microphone input, or internal tracks. The input button chooses the recording input, while Edit plus Record sets the additional sampling options, including record trigger and source. Record button arms the sample recording when holding Shift. After recording, you can edit, slice, and import samples to a tone or drum track. For more information about sampling, consult your user manual. Tracks Instrument 1 and 2 can be used as looper tracks, recording or importing audio to play as loops with time stretching. Press Clear in Instrument 1 or 2, and then select Looper Track. To import audio, press the value knob again. Locate the sampler loop that you want to import, press the value knob, and hit play. You have up to 60 seconds total for looper track audio. If you've imported and deleted looper audio, you can also use the Looper Optimize function in the System menu to clean up the memory and free space up. So now you've got the basic beat laid out. You want to create different sections to form into a song arrangement. Sections can be things like intro, outro, verse, chorus, bridge. In section mode, you can preview, you can edit your colors, and you can change the length using the step sequencer. So in this case, section 1 is 4 bars. I can change it to 8 bars, 12 bars, to 16 bars, so on and so forth with my other sections. Press Copy plus a section to copy to another section slot. You can use this copy method to make a master sequence with all your main ideas and develop other song sections by subtracting or adding elements. In this case, I have master section on pad 1. Pad 2 is just the drums. And pad 3, 4, and so on are instrumental breaks. Hold Edit and then press the value knob to name a section. In song mode, you can arrange sections by pressing Record, a step sequencer button, and drum pad sections. Press Edit plus Song to show various song settings, and Shift plus Song to access song templates. This is where you can assign sections to preset song elements and then load a template to auto-arrange combinations. This can be useful to get a feel for different ways your sections could flow together into a song. One of the most unique points of VERSELAB is the onboard vocal recording capabilities. Once you finalize the song arrangement, you can start recording with vocals, with or without effects, on the vocal track here. Record and overdub vocals on top of your song, or import WAV files from another vocalist. You can have up to 16 vocal takes per project. To get started, first set your recording source by pressing Input. You have a built-in mic for recording quick vocals, or you can record via the XLR input or the line in for recording other sound sources, for instance, instruments. Press Edit, then the mic on button for other microphone settings, including phantom power. Next, press Song, then the vocal track, and choose a drum pad for vocal take. I've called in my friend Hazmat to record some vocals and show you how the process works. After recording, pressing Edit plus the vocal take allows you to edit the playback timing by sequence position or sample edit. This means you can easily repeat parts in other song sections or remove them from the arrangement altogether if you want to save them for later. To quick copy a take to a section, simply hold the take pad and press the section you want to copy to. You can also mute a previous vocal take by holding Mixer and pressing the take. Clear plus a drum pad completely deletes the vocal take. For importing somebody else's vocals, press the take pad and then the value knob to import a WAV file. Importing WAV files is a great way to collaborate with vocalists or for remixing a pre-existing song using the acapella. The vocal processor is one of the coolest onboard features of VERSELAB, letting you use modern effects like auto pitch, harmonizer, doubler, and enhancer, as well as mixing style effects like noise gate, compressor, de-esser, and EQ. You also have 20 vocal processor patches set up for easy access and recording. Press Shift and Vocal Processor on to access those patches. Let's get Hazmat to show us some of those patches right now.
So let's check out the vocal processor in the MV1. The first patch that you get is auto pitch. Check it out. Oh, yeah. So you get a couple of really cool sounds with it. Let's check out some more. Double track is where you can kind of double the vocals. You can thicken the vocals up a little bit. This is great for backgrounds. Or if you're doing the verses, you want to kind of have it a little more thicker in the mix, you can use double track to really kind of fatten up your mix there. One of my favorites is the radio patch. This is great for intros, like a pre-chorus, or even outros when you want to make a really big vocal statement and you want to have a little bit of flair to it. You can check out the radio patch. So that's a lot of cool things you can do. We're going to check out some more harmonies. Check this out.
For auto pitch tuning, you can set the key by pressing Edit and then the vocal processor on button. Navigate to Common, and in there you're going to find the key. Additional settings to choose how subtle or robotic the style of auto pitch can be found under Tune in the auto processing menu. For the recording workflow, the vocal processor effects can be applied during the vocal recording or after. To record vocal processor effects to your take, simply turn it on and record. To add effects to a dry vocal we've already recorded, press Edit and then the vocal processor on, then choose Common from your menu, then change the position to vocal dry. If we then press Edit and the vocal we want to process, we can then go to Take Sample Edit menu and change the out assign to vocal processor. For more deep dive info on the vocal processor parameters, check out the VERSELAB parameter guide. Each track has a separate EQ and compressor with sense to the global reverb and delay, plus MIDI settings for using with external gear. Press Shift and the track to access these general track settings. Tone, looper, and the vocal track also have over 90 multi-effects, also known as Mfx, to choose from for even more ways to transform the sound of your track. When in sequence mode, press Edit and then the value knob to choose an effect from the multi-effects menu. Mixer mode allows you to quickly adjust the volume, pan, global reverb, and delay sends for each track using the control knobs by pressing the mixer button here. Mixer plus a track will mute that track on playback. Mastering is the process of putting the final polish on your song. Press Shift plus the mix down button to access multi-band compression and 5-band EQ to shape the sound of your song, along with a brick wall limiter to ensure the overall level is loud but doesn't get too hot and distort. The mixdown button creates a final audio bounce onto the SD card of your song in a WAV format. There are additional options for the mixdown: a full mix, instruments only, or the vocal. VERSELAB uses custom USB drivers for sync and sending multiple tracks to a DAW on your Mac or PC. If you've installed the driver, you can access 20 input sources and 4 output sources listed on the screen here. Set your driver mode to vendor, and then simply choose MV1 as your input or output source in your DAW. Additionally, there's a generic class-compliant mode for use with devices like tablets, phones, plus integration with Roland's beat-making app Zenbeats for enhanced workflow. You can also access Roland Cloud for additional sound packs that can be imported into your VERSELAB. On Apple devices with a Lightning connector, you'll need the camera connection kit to connect to the USB port on VERSELAB. Press the System button and scroll to USB driver, setting it to generic. You'll then be able to send stereo audio to and from your mobile apps, in addition to using MIDI sync, so the MIDI apps will play alongside VERSELAB. There's also a storage mode, which allows access to VERSELAB's SD card over USB for file transfer. This is great for sending projects, samples, and your mix down from your computer or mobile device to send to people you're collaborating with or online platforms. Press Shift plus System, then scroll to Storage mode. Press Enter and connect your USB cable. The MV1 will appear as an SD card reader in your computer's file structure. Make sure to properly eject the MV in your computer settings before exiting storage mode. Additional sounds can be downloaded from Roland Cloud, transferred to the SD card, and loaded into a track. Place the SoundPack SDZ file into the Sounds folder of the SD card, select a track, press Enter to launch the browser, then scroll to Sound file. You'll then be able to preview and load the new sounds. Finally, VERSELAB will work directly with Zenbeats to enhance your workflow using a mobile device or laptop. One of the best things about Zenbeats is it's cross-platform and works on Mac, PC, iOS, and Android. So just about any device you have will work with Zenbeats and VERSELAB. Zenbeats functionality is being regularly updated, so to get the latest information, check out Roland Zenbeats and Roland Support YouTube channels. Shift plus System accesses the utility menu to manage the memory and storage. For example, you can check how much space you have left for audio recordings using memory info and delete unused takes and samples. Press System for various display, MIDI, and pad options. For instance, you can choose how bright the pads and the buttons are, or if the last project you were working on automatically loads when you turn on the VERSELAB. For additional information, download the PDF Owner's Manual and Parameter Guide from the VERSELAB product page at roland.com. If you want more help learning VERSELAB, be sure to register your MV1 on roland.com to get an invite to our online learning platform, Roland Cloud Academy. Thanks for watching. Now let's get to making some songs.